Oh, that didn't work. That stopped again. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to Space Oddities. Hope you were well on this Tuesday evening. It's lovely weather here in Spain. T-shirt weather at last, and it's like summer. Summer's arrived early this year, which is fantastic. So thank you for being here this evening. And I'm joined this evening by some faces that might be familiar to you. I'm really sorry about that, but there you are. So let's introduce them again in case you don't know who they are. So we've got Roger this evening. How are you, Roger?
Good evening. All's well in Sparkford.
Oh, good, as it always is. The sun always shines on Sparkford, eh?
Only in the daytime.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realise that. But there you are.
Sorry.
Daz jumping up and down for some reason.
Yeah, just adjusting the camera. But you say it's t-shirt weather. Here it's quite cold. We're going into a cold snap. I think we've had our summer.
It's got cold again this afternoon.
Oh, really? That's Michael down there who just spoke. It's been 24 degrees today, so it's been lovely.
All right.
Yeah, and sunny. Beautiful. And Lou, all the way from Yankland. How are you, Lou?
Well, doing well. A bit windy here. We have wind advisories in effect.
Oh, really?
You might hear the clatter of wind chimes as we talk.
All right.
Oh, you old hippie.
Otherwise, everything's good in Starport too.
Yeah. I bet Lou's got dream chasers as well, dream trappers.
Yeah, I bet he has.
Whatever that is, I'm sure I have one.
Lots of feathers and things
and a special pipe.
Anyway,
enough of this idle chatter. Let's get on with the show. So, just thinking, I did want to mention that I forgot to mention last week when we did our show on April Fool's Day. You may remember there was a news story about the space station going backwards for a couple of weeks due to a thruster malfunction, and that was in fact our April Fool's story. So, and I'm surprised none of you out there spotted it and said anything. But no, the space station really isn't capable of going suddenly backwards. So there you are. Just to put your mind at rest.
They do have to change the orientation when sometimes when the docking is imminent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Yeah, but it's
still sitting the same way.
Yeah, suddenly can't stop and go backwards. So there we are. What have we got on the show for you this evening? Well, as part of Moon Month, you may have noticed it's Moon Month. We hope you have. We are going to be looking at how the moon has been represented in popular culture throughout history. I hope you find it interesting. We've also got our regular features coming up. We've got Roger doing Constellation of the Week this week. No spoilers. I'll let him tell you what it is later. We've also got, of course, our usual delve into the deepest recesses of social media with Einstein of the Week. And no, Pauline, you go ahead. So yes, please. What are you knitting, Pauline? Are you knitting a Space Oddities jumper? That'd be great. So there we are. So yes, we've got Einstein of the Week, we've got Constellation of the Week. Of course, we've got Roger's Night Sky Guide and the weekly viewers gallery. Thanks to everybody for sending in their images. We've got quite a nice gallery for you this evening. Yes. And don't forget, if you want to send your images into the gallery, not only do you get them displayed here on a Tuesday, you also get your own gallery on the Space Oddities website. And let me just remind you what that is. And the Space Oddities website is https spaceoddities.space. And if you want to send your images in for the gallery, then it's couldn't be easier. It's simplicity itself. Send them in to gallery@spaceoddities.space. Attach them to an email, one image per email, please, because it makes life a lot easier. And there you go. And please keep your images coming in because we love seeing them. We do look forward to seeing your images every week. And you get your own free gallery on the Space Oddities website. And what more could you want? I ask you. Life can be wonderful sometimes. Also, please, if you're new here, you're very welcome. Great to see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment because it really helps us. It really helps us get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. And as I've said before, the problem that we have is that we have the live chat during the show, but afterwards nobody leaves comments on the actual video. And YouTube does not pay any attention to the number of comments in the live chat at all. All it looks at are the comments on the actual video to decide whether to recommend it to other people. And if there are no comments, it said that must be dead boring. I'm not going to recommend that to anybody because nobody wants to discuss it. So please, if you could just do us a slight favor, when we finished streaming, if you could just put a comment, whatever you want to say, it doesn't really matter. You can recite War and Peace if you want to. It's not a problem. But if you could just do us a favor, just putting a comment on the video after the stream is finished, that would be wonderful, because it will really, really help us and get our viewing figures out and enable us to spread the glories of the universe to more people. So there you are, which is what it's all about, really. So thank you for that. Just a couple of, I haven't done a news this week. Again, it's been a really quiet news week. And I have also been very busy uploading all the Moon Month videos to YouTube. I hope you're watching the channel. I hope you're watching the videos that we're creating and putting up on the channel. There's a lot more to come this month. But I hope you're watching the videos. Just out of interest, viewers, if you've actually sat and watched any of the videos for Moon Month, apart from these live streams, obviously, could you just say so in the chat? Because just to get an idea of, is there anybody out there among our regular viewers actually watching the Moon Month videos? Because we hope so, because we want to get them seen by as many as possible. As I said, there are a lot more videos to come yet this month. We're getting through them slowly. And the Deep Burrito says, he says, this is rubbish, referring to the algorithm. It is a stupid algorithm. You're quite right. It ought to take the number of comments in the live chat into account, but it doesn't even look at them. So, but thank you for that comment. You're absolutely right. So there you are. And just a couple of things that have been in the news. Daz, do you remember we were talking about this business of the early galaxies that the James Webb has found? 70% of them rotating one way and 30% rotating the other. And we did say, I think we mentioned this at the time, one of the ideas is that this would indicate a universe that is rotating. Yeah. And there's been another paper out this week that says if you do that, if you assume that there's a universe rotating, then it also solves the Hubble tension. The Hubble tension disappears.
Yeah. I think this was mentioned at the time, because this was with the story where they reckon that our universe is within the singularity of a black hole.
Yes.
If you remember, so because the black hole rotates, and that gives the momentum for everything to. Yeah. It was just one of those thought experiments. So does it? So it okay then.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting to follow.
But of course, that raises a question for me: what's it rotating relative to? The German scientist Mach, him of Mach 1, Mach 2 speed of sound stuff. Well, he also did experiments with a bucket of water. And if you take a bucket of water and you spin the bucket, the water doesn't spin, it stays where it is. And Mach said, what is that remaining stationary relative to? There must be a reference point to which it's not rotating. And I'm not sure whether he ever solved that. But if it indicates to me that if the universe is rotating, it must be rotating relative to something. Lou, have you got any thoughts on that?
Dear God.
Yeah.
I've read just the very quick abstracts of both papers. It's interesting. This idea that there's an asymmetry that is hard to explain between the direction of rotation of the galaxies.
Yeah.
I think. This idea that there is that there are other dimensions is not new, but the evidence, I think, for whether we have an open, closed, or a flat universe points towards a flat universe within very, very tight constraints, which would indicate, I think, that the universe is infinite. If that's the case, then I couldn't tell you what we're rotating with relationship to.
No, quite right. Yeah. But this to me indicates that if it is rotating, it can't be infinite. Yeah.
Well, then you have to look at the cosmic microwave background, and that first feature in the power spectrum would indicate otherwise. So we have that's what science is.
That's
right. I mean, if what they were sorry, carry on, Luke.
No, that's all. That's all. It's just that now we have contradictory. I'll just call it evidence, for lack of it.
Yeah, because I mean, because we said at the time this story was because it was talking about us being inside a black hole, and the black hole is the center of another galaxy, etc., etc., etc. And it's basically it meant that we were sort of like in theory we would be, because we at the center of our galaxy there is another black hole. Is there another universe in the center of that? It's like a nest of dolls, isn't it? Russian dolls.
It's black holes all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and but also if you're in the singularity, then that means that you would have an edge to the universe. And then if you've got an edge to the universe, that means you've also then got a center.
Yeah.
Which we would be possibly rotating around. It opens up so many different theoretic possibilities in rethinking of our models. So yeah, it's just something that just keep watching and see where this goes.
But the fact that this new paper, I can't remember the authors, I only sort of skimmed it. The fact that they're saying that you can solve the Hubble tension by assuming a rotating universe, that's interesting. To see how it plays out.
That tension is between the value for the Hubble constant you get from the Type 1a supernovas and the value you get from the CMB, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder, I'm trying to think how a rotating universe. So which one is higher? Do you recall? One is like at 72 or 73, and one is at 67 or something like that, right?
I think the 74 is the CMB, and the 69 is the supernovae. I think that's right. Not that it matters a great deal, but yeah. So anyway, we will follow that, and perhaps we can talk about that when we get some.
When we get sort of like a bit more into it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I just asked ChatGPT for the answer.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah, it's a mistake. ChatGPT says the idea of whether the universe has an edge is one of great mystery.
It's not kidding there.
Anyway, Sherlock.
Moving on.
That's almost for an Einstein, isn't it? For the week, though.
Yeah. So you may remember a couple of weeks we showed you a video of the camera on the Vera Rubin telescope being installed, the world's biggest digital camera the size of a car. Well, it's now been fully put in its place, so to speak, and this is what it looks like. And I thought this is such a great image. I just had to show this to you. So that is the finished and installed camera for the Vera Rubin Observatory. It's a 3.2 gigapixel camera, not megapixel, gigapixel camera, the biggest digital camera ever built. And the Vera Rubin telescope, in case you don't know, is a survey instrument that's going to photograph the entire southern night sky every 3 nights and spot things that are changing. It's what's called time domain astronomy. Anything that changes in the night sky, the Vera Rubin will hopefully spot. And it's going to fire off a lot of emails, they reckon, every night to alert people that something's changed. I saw a figure that said it's going to generate 1 million emails per night. And obviously, I wouldn't like an inbox that fills up with those. I don't think many people will. So I hope they can filter it in some way. But it said that it might spot up to 1 million things changing in the night sky, night on night. So that will be interesting to see. So we're talking about asteroids. We're talking about supernovae. We're talking about, well, lots of things really. So anyway, the Vera Rubin telescope is, if all goes well, it's going to take its first photos towards the end of this month. Test photos. It won't fully go online. It won't get. It won't actually be doing science until later in the year. But I think, if I remember rightly, towards the end of this month, it's going to be seeing first light and taking its first images, and that's when we'll see whether this behemoth of a digital camera actually works as it's meant to. So I just thought I would share that lovely image. This has been a long time coming. I mean, I've been following this project of the Vera Rubin Observatory for years, back when it was the LSST, the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope, and it was years ago. So I'm personally very excited about what the telescope is going to do for astronomy. So that's the Vera Rubin.
If
telescope.
The funding is not threatened by the FY26 NASA budget, and I believe if the House budget passes the Senate, I don't think it will. No. But if it were to, then I think the Vera Rubin operation would be threatened. So we'll keep you abreast of all that.
Yeah, we'll keep you up to date with that, and can't wait to see the images from it. It should be absolutely spectacular, because it's a wide field survey telescope, as I said, photographing the southern night sky every 3 nights, and it's going to do that. I think its lifespan is meant to be 10 years, if I remember rightly. So there's a lot of data to come.
That's right. We just sort of like had the last day. Well, I don't think we've had the last day quite yet of the Gaia missions.
No, that's coming out next year. I think next summer.
The fourth dump. So why are you pointing at me?
Yeah. I'm going to get a little aberration off my image here, but
yeah. Also, you may have seen that the Blue Origin New Shepard took a ride yesterday with 6 ladies on board, including the singer Katy Perry, and I felt sorry for her. There she was, looking down on a world where she's no longer musically relevant. So very sad. But she went up with some very, very highly qualified women, and they went up and down on their whatever flight. It is 9-10 minutes. It's not a long flight, and they all got down safely. So well done, ladies.
So it was suborbital.
Yes.
Yeah. Up and down. Yeah. So but they do pass the Kármán line, so theoretically they're astronauts, and Jeff Bezos pins a little badge on them to say they're an astronaut when they get back.
Yeah.
So Katy Perry is now officially an astronaut. Wouldn't have happened in my day, but there you are. So,
not on my watch.
Not on my watch. Okay, so don't forget, yes, I see some of you have been watching the Moon Month videos, so thank you very much for doing that. We hope you enjoyed them. You know, you can drop us a line about anything anytime. Just drop us an email at info@spaceoddities.space. Any comments or suggestions or criticisms, anything you want to say about anything to do with Space Oddities, you know, we love hearing from you. Drop us a line sometime. And and Deep Burrito says, thank you for your donation, by the way, much appreciated. The screaming from Blue Origin was funny, like Disney World Ride. I didn't get to screaming, but I'm not surprised if they were screaming.
Yeah, they were screaming.
Yeah. So there we are. So thank you for that. Okay. So yeah, Sandra says she thought the same. Yeah. So there we are. So yes, I mean, as I said, we have got a lot more videos to post this month. I think we've got at least another, I don't know how many we got left, Daz. 20?
Well, probably about another 30, yeah.
Yeah, I've got about another 30.
I'm still producing them, so you know, every time I do one, I think, oh, we could do one about this, we can do one about that, and I want to try and introduce some of the people in the background you don't get to hear about. So you know, every time I hear a name, I say, "Oh, I remember him. Yeah, he was the Capcom for this or whatever," and that's in there. So I'd like to get. And there was a chap who did all the suiting of the astronauts as well, with a German name, Schmidt, I think his name was Schmidt, and things like that. It's people you don't get to hear about. So you know, just to bring them to the fore. So even if we, at the end of the month, if we haven't got them all up, we could just continue to put them up, because it'd be nice to sort of like build a library of the Apollo missions and people who are involved and things like that.
Yeah,
build up a whole library. So
history has forgotten.
Yeah,
which is a shame. But there you are. Okay, let's move on. So we move on to our, if you like, star feature today. Today, as part of Moon Month, we're going to be telling you all about the moon in popular culture. And let me just get this up. And here we are. So here's a presentation about how the moon has been represented in popular culture. I hope you enjoy this. There's some interesting stuff in here, I hope. So let's have a look. So hope you can see this.
Yep.
So the moon in popular culture. Well, why is the moon so persistent in human culture? What is it about the moon that just keeps coming up again and again and again? Well, obviously it's up there in the sky and everybody can see it, and everybody does get to see the moon at some point. But there are several factors probably involved in this. It's visibility and regularity. You know, you can see it with your eyes. You don't need telescopes to see it. Its influence over the tides and ancient calendars, because of course throughout history the moon has been so important to tides and calendars. So that's one reason. And it's psychologically always been associated with, well, different things really: mystery, the feminine, the subconscious. And Carl Jung wrote quite a lengthy piece about so-called lunar archetypes, which you can look up online. Quite interesting stuff. And of course, in more recent times, it's associated with technological triumph. The Apollo program and lunar landings and all the exploration of the moon. We're focusing a lot of our best technology on the moon at the moment, even though it doesn't make the popular media very much. But yes, so it's been associated in recent times with technological progress and excellence. And also, somebody's wrote, I can't for the life of me remember who it was, but the moon is a mirror, and what we project onto the moon are our own fears and desires and emotions. So the moon acts as sort of a mirror for humans, and has done throughout history. They've also been represented as, the moon's also been represented as gods, of course. So the ancient Greeks had the Greek goddess Artemis, who was goddess of the hunt, wild animals, and the moon. And she was associated with the wilderness and virginity. But they also had, oh yes, not to forget, of course, that NASA had named their attempt to get back to the moon, put humans on the moon after her, Project Artemis, which we should see soon. Two or three people. I'm not sure what the crew is. What's the crew for Artemis 2? Is it 2 or 3? Can't remember. Must be more than 2, surely.
Oh,
it's 4, isn't it?
4.
It's 4.
4?
Yes.
4. Okay.
4.
Well, 4 people will be going round the moon, not landing on it, round the moon and returning to the Earth in preparation for Artemis 3, where people will land on the moon. And NASA intend to put the first person of color and the first woman on the moon with Artemis 3. The timeline is just a bit up in the air at the moment, but it's going to be at least 2027 before that happens. Anyway, I digress. So the Greeks also had Selene, and Selene is the actual personification of the moon, whereas Artemis was a god of the moon. Selene was the actual moon, and she was portrayed as a Titan goddess who drives a chariot across the night sky. The moon has also been associated, of course, as Michael well knows, with romance. And throughout history, the moon has been seen as something romantic and something wonderful to sit under with your partner. But who can forget Shawaddy Waddy? And of course, their famous song "Under the Moon of Love," which was a song all about love and the moon. But of course, on the other side, you've got the moon being something bad for love. And if you know the song Blue Moon, you saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. So that was associating the blue moon with sadness. Blue, of course, being the color associated with sadness. So that not a good thing, the blue moon for love in that song. We'll be having a look at the musical side in a bit more detail later. In film, of course, the moon has often been portrayed, and there are several notable. There are many films that feature the moon, obviously, but here are some of the notable ones. The first one, Le Voyage dans la Lune, in 1902. Yeah, which has got that famous image of the moon getting an eyeful, if you like.
Yeah.
Very famous film for its day. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Of course.
Quite a lengthy section takes place on the moon where humans find the first evidence of extraterrestrial life. Wonderful film, my favorite film of all time, and in my opinion, the best film ever made. But I'm willing to listen to other opinions as long as you don't disagree with me. So there we are.
I told you, Andy, it's 2.5 hours. I'll never get back.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, your opinion doesn't count. So, who can forget Wallace and Gromit?
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
In A Grand Day Out, going to the moon because it's made of cheese, and they had run out of cheese at home.
Wensleydale.
Wensleydale, yes, absolutely.
Stinking Bishop.
Yeah. So Wallace and Gromit went to the moon. The film Moon. Who's seen Moon?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
You haven't seen Moon?
Don't think so.
Well, put that on your list immediately. Films that you have to watch. It's a brilliant movie. Absolutely brilliant. Directed, believe it or not, by the son of David Bowie.
Ah.
So it's a great movie. It's really
Is that
good.
the one where the chap's on his own?
Yes, but no spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
I saw
I
saw a bit of a film called Meteor Moon the other day, which was absolutely rubbish.
Oh, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. So that's Moon 2009. That's well worth seeing. First Man, of course, a recreation of Apollo with Ryan Gosling. I love this film. I think it was absolutely really special with Ryan Gosling playing Neil Armstrong.
Just saw that last weekend. It was really good.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was a good expose on the personal issues and the risk that everyone took to be an astronaut and advance our knowledge.
Yeah.
And then it kind of ends when they get to the moon. So, but
yeah, absolutely. I've watched it about 3 times, Lou. I just thought it was a fab film. I really did. So there we are. Let's turn to the dark side, because the moon has a dark side. And if you look at tarot, there's a moon card in tarot that's associated with fears, dreams, illusions, and the subconscious. Very mysterious, occult. But also, of course, lunatics, from which we get the term. Madness associated with the moon, and particularly the full moon, which is what people used to believe, that it was the full moon that caused people to go mad. And there we are.
I used to live in a group house right after college with a guy who was a psychiatric technician at a hospital mental illness ward, and he swore that during the full moon that the patients would just go off, and it would be very chaotic.
There's lots of anecdotal evidence about that. I don't know if anybody's actually done a formal study. I'm sure somebody must have done. But,
I think they've done studies where they think that somehow there's either magnetic influence of the full moon changes the chemistry of the brain for some unknown reason in these times of the full moon. But there's nothing written in stone. It's all theoretical and possible. So,
and of course, when we're talking about the derivation of these terms, we've got lunatics, and for women, we've got the menstrual cycle associated with the 28-day orbital period of the moon, and that's nothing at all to do with madness, he said. So we have these terms relating directly to the moon. We've got the image of the wolf howling at the moon, indicated something dark and primal and mysterious. And in Europe, particularly, we have the legends of the werewolves, which are also associated with the moon and darkness and evil. So all to do with the moon. In music, of course, well, where does one start? I think we have to start with the most obvious choice, which is Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Now, on the album Dark Side of the Moon, Roger Waters used the moon as a metaphor, because the album is nothing about space. It's a metaphor for the dark side of human nature. And if you really want to know what this album is all about, in essence, it's encapsulated in the last two lines of the final song on the album, Eclipse, where Roger Waters writes, "And everything under the sun is in tune, but the sun is eclipsed by the moon." This is a very bleak view of human nature, saying that we can always try to be happy and do the very best to be happy and good people and help each other and everything else. But in the end, that goodness is eclipsed by the dark side of human nature, symbolized by the moon, which is a very bleak view of things, but I'm not convinced he's entirely incorrect, to be quite honest. Also in music, Ludwig van Beethoven, you do, of course, know the Piano Sonata number 14 in C sharp minor, opus 27, number 2, subtitled Sonata Quasi una Fantasia, Sonata in the Manner of a Fantasy, published in 1802, one of his most famous works. But of course, you don't know it as that. You know it as the Moonlight Sonata, because Moonlight Sonata was not what Beethoven called it. He called it the aforementioned. And it wasn't until 50 years later that a German music critic decided that it reminded him of Moonlight on a Lake. And when he was writing about it, he called it the Moonlight Sonata, and the name stuck. But Beethoven himself never called it the Moonlight Sonata. But it's still a wonderful piece of music, obviously. Who can forget Claude Debussy, Clair de Lune, one of the most beautiful pieces of piano ever written, from the suite of Bergamasque. And in actual fact, Claude Debussy got the name of that, the inspiration from that, from a poem by one of the great French Romantic poets, Paul Verlaine. And he wrote a poem called Clair de Lune some years earlier. And here it is. And I will give you the translation, obviously. Let me just read this, because I think it's a beautiful poem. Called Moonlight, Clair de Lune. Your soul is a select landscape where charming masqueraders and burgomaskers go, playing the lute and dancing and almost sad beneath their fantastic disguises. All sing in a minor key of victorious love and the opportune life. They do not seem to believe in their happiness, and their song mingles with the moonlight. With the still moonlight, sad and beautiful, that sets the birds dreaming in the trees, and the fountains sobbing in ecstasy, the tall, slender fountains among marble statues, which is absolutely beautiful. Lovely poem. Who's playing that?
Thought you might need some background.
Oh, thank you. Right, well, you know what now you forced me to do. I'm going to read the French for this as well.
All right.
Clair de Lune. Votre âme est un passage choisi, qui vont charmant masque et bergamasque, jouant de luth et dansant et quasi triste, sous le déguisement fantasque, tout en chantant sur l'amour mineux, l'amour vainqueur et la vie opportune. Ils n'ont parlé de croire à leur bonheur, et leurs chansons s'émêlent au clair de lune. Au calme, clair de lune triste et beau, qui fait rêver les oiseaux dans les arbres, et sangloter d'extase les jets d'eau, les grands jets d'eau sveltes parmi les marbres. So it sounds a lot better in French.
Sounds more poetic in the French, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I've always said that French is a fantastic language for poetry because I studied the French Romantic poets and fell in love with them. And when I read the same things in English, somebody once said that reading poetry in translation is like kissing a woman through a veil. And they're absolutely correct. So there you are. Art we move on to now. And there are lots of examples of art. Andy Warhol, for example, did a series of pop art images of Apollo 11, of which these are two. And not my cup of tea, to be quite honest, but I understand where he was coming from. Who can forget Starry Night by Van Gogh? Now, of course, this image is known for its wonderful depiction of stars. But, of course, at the top right-hand corner, there's a big crescent moon as well, which people often overlook. But he was obviously thinking about the moon in that. We've also got a wonderful painting from 1819 called Two Men Contemplating the Moon by the artist Caspar David Friedrich. And this, what he was trying to convey in the painting here was two men contemplating mystery and the unknown, looking at the moon. Lovely painting there.
Yeah, you've got Earthshine on that one, haven't you?
Yes, you've got Earthshine on that one as well, but it's meant to symbolize sort of the unknown.
Yeah.
And the moon is very persistent in art because it's a perfect form, circular and symmetrical, and basically anybody can draw it, because it's circular. And it's a visible cycle of change. Phases of the moon evoke time, mortality, and renewal. And it's a universal symbol. Every culture sees the same moon. And that's a very important point. It's something that unites people. It joins us as humans all together. And it also represents duality, light in darkness, constant yet changing. So we see the two parts of the moon, the light and the dark, going through this constant rhythm throughout the ages. So there we are. And that brings us to the end of the presentation about the moon in popular culture. Viewers, if you have any other examples you'd like to share with us, then please put them in the chat, because this is all interesting stuff. So
it certainly is. I mean, as you said, throughout history, since, so I suppose man, maybe even before man became, or humans became aware, the moon has obviously always played a part, being mysterious. Then, as you said, it's a timing piece. It's a part of the calendar. It become important in religion. I think Ian pointed out that Easter is based on the Passover on the full moon. So after a certain full moon, because of course the date of the full moons on every month, every year change. That's why Easter changes its date. It's always been important in the Christian calendar, and it's also why we get the first full moon after the spring equinox. Thanks for that, Lou. And also this is why we had to also add in what we call the blue moon, because the blue moon, as it stands, it is a little bit complicated. We have got a video on it which explains what the blue moon actually is. Now, there's two versions of the blue moon. There's a historical blue moon, and which is to do with one calculation, and the blue moon, which is more popular now since the 60s, which is basically two moons in a month.
Yes.
But that happens a lot more than what the old historical one is. And it's because the old one is based on the seasons. We have 4 seasons, which are marked by the equinoxes and that, which is usually around the 21st of every 3rd month, which is when they usually change. It's around about that date. Sometimes it's 22nd, 20th, or whatever. But if you get a full moon, 2 moons in one of those, say like December, the winter equinox, December the 21st, if you get a blue moon at the beginning of, say, the 2nd of December, and then you get another blue moon on the 31st, then what you've got is 2 full moons in a month. Now, under the new rule, that is a blue moon. They call it a blue moon.
Yeah.
But under the old rule, it's not, because it straddles autumn and winter.
Yeah.
So you're actually counting the full moons within each season, and there should only be 3. And you get the early moon, the full moon, and then you get the late moon.
Sure.
If another moon slips into there, that gives you 4 moons. And it's these moons, especially the 3 moons, which the Christian calendar is usually based on. So if you get a 4th one come in, you don't want it upsetting the apple cart. So what you do is, when you get a 4th one come in, the 3rd full moon in that season becomes the blue moon.
Right.
And that means that basically you've still got the early moon, early full moon, the blue moon, and the late blue moon. But in between the blue moon and the late blue moon, late full moon is the blue moon. And it doesn't up. So you've still got those 3 in order, and they don't upset the apple cart. And also another reason is that different civilizations name their moons associated with the time that they appear and things that happen at that time. Of course, if you had a blue moon, that would again upset the naming of all those moons.
Yeah. Sure.
Have a look at the video we've got on there. It's just trying to explain it. So
on the channel, it hasn't had that much views, to be honest. So you could bump it up a bit if you like.
Yeah, but that's how it works. But under the old scheme, you get far less full moons, and that's where the scarcity part comes in.
Ian says quite rightly, Islam uses the moon a lot too. Ramadan. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
lots of cultures do in religion. So
absolutely. Anyway, Daz is now going to tell us, going to show us a video about the moon rakers. Daz, would you like to just give us a brief introduction?
No, it's not me actually talking. I've done an AI chat. But what the moon rakers are, and Roger's probably heard of this phrase, is that people in North Wiltshire are known as the moon rakers. And it's usually used as a derogatory term, meaning village idiot or something like that.
Oh yeah, Roger's definitely
but it's actually based on a historical fact. And it's actually the opposite. It's the sort of like the country folk basically getting one over the city folk, and especially the excise men, because it's all to do with smuggling. I'll let them tell you the story. So it's all based around North Wiltshire and a place called Devizes, and that surrounding area. And it was, during the 17th century, the 18th century, sorry, there was a lot of smuggling going on due to high taxes. We weren't very friendly with France whenever. And basically lots of the goods had high taxes on them or were totally banned. So smuggling was rife. So, and this is what it's based on. So I'll just let it play, and then we'll probably have a chat about it a bit later on. But this just goes to show how the moon, in different regions, in different places, can have an effect on the way people think. So let me just click on this, and it should start straight away off.
Right then. Welcome to this deep dive. We've got a fascinating set of sources here, all centered on the Wiltshire Moonrakers.
Yes, quite a famous bit of local folklore.
Absolutely. And our job today is really to unpack it. Look at the historical backdrop of smuggling. Get into the actual folk tale.
The story itself.
Yeah, and think about those flights of contraband, what the smugglers were actually trying to achieve their goals and, the outcomes.
And how it all fits together chronologically. The sources, the historical notes, glossary bits, they give us a good range, I think.
Definitely. So the scene, we're talking 18th century rural England, right? Wiltshire specifically.
That's the heartland. And the wool trade was significant then, apparently bringing in Flemish and Dutch traders.
Ah, yes, to places like Swindon. And these traders, the notes mention, had a taste for gin and brandy.
Which is where the trouble starts, isn't it? Because of the import duties.
Exactly. High taxes on spirits. So you had these traders wanting their drink and local publicans wanting to, boost their profits.
By avoiding the duty. Creates the perfect conditions for smuggling, really.
A perfect storm, as you say. The economic push is key here.
It really is. Those duties made legal imports expensive, so the illicit trade became, very tempting. Despite the dangers.
And Wiltshire's location played a part, too.
Oh, very much so. It was right on these secret routes, smuggling highways almost.
Highways, right.
Yeah.
Running from the south coast inland.
Yeah, picture the scene. Goods, mostly spirits like brandy and gin, landed quietly on the coast. Maybe Dorset, Hampshire coves.
The other way places.
Definitely. Then transported overland across Hampshire into Wiltshire, and Swindon seems to have been a key endpoint.
Because of the Dutch and Flemish connections?
Precisely. They were the ready market, I suppose. It's interesting how these flights, these movements, must have been quite organized.
You think so? Not just opportunistic.
Well, perhaps a bit of both, but the sources imply established routes, moving that quantity of stuff, avoiding detection. It suggests some level of planning.
And gin and brandy were the main things. Because of the high duties.
Seems that way. Popular drinks, big markup if you avoided the tax. Worth the risk for some.
And the risks were real. Excisemen, the revenue officers, always lurking. The threat of being caught was serious.
The sources mention harsh punishments, so it wasn't trivial.
Not at all. Fines, prison. It kept things tense. You need to be clever, secretive.
Which I suppose brings us nicely to the folk tale itself, the Moonraker story.
The core narrative, yes. We know it's quite old, certainly around before 1787, because Gross mentions it in his glossary then.
Okay, so what's the story? Smugglers. Brandy.
Right. A group of smugglers, they've hidden their contraband French brandy barrels in a village pond.
In a pond. Seems a bit damp.
Well, yes, but maybe effective for hiding. The location usually cited as Cramer Pond in Devizes.
Okay, Cramer Pond. And they're trying to get it back out.
Exactly. At night. And crucially, there's a full moon.
Ah, the moon. Hence the name later, I assume.
Precisely. So they're there with their rakes, trying to fish out these barrels. What was the ultimate goal with the brandy? Just get it out and sell it.
Presumably transported onwards. The sources suggest the Pelican Inn in Devizes was the likely destination. Sell it on, make their profit, avoid the duty. That seems the main goal.
Standard smuggling procedure. But things go wrong.
Well, right on cue, an excise man turns up. Catches them in the act, or so he thinks.
Bit awkward.
This is where the quick thinking comes in. One of the smugglers, John Chapman of Devizes is often named, comes up with a brilliant excuse.
Go on.
The excise man asks what on earth they're doing. Chapman, supposedly laying on a thick Wiltshire accent, points at the reflection of the full moon in the water and says they're trying to rake out that Gert Yeller cheese.
The moon's reflection?
Yes.
As a cheese. Seriously.
That's the story. He plays the complete yokel. The thick accent, the ridiculous claim.
Banking on the stereotype of simple country folk.
Exactly. And it works. The excise man is totally taken in.
He believed them.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Thought they were just harmless idiots, maybe even laughed at them and went on his way.
Incredible. So the smugglers achieved their goal. They got away with it.
In this telling, yes. The excise man is fooled. The smugglers get their brandy later. They have the last laugh, as the notes say. A neat outcome for them.
A classic tale of local cunning versus authority. Let's talk about the people involved. John Chapman. Anyone else?
The name Old Mr. Mabet from Tillshead also comes up. Suggests it might have been a small group, maybe drawing from nearby villages.
Shows a bit of a network, perhaps.
Could well do. These operations often weren't solitary affairs, and the location, Kramer Pond in Devizes, seems pretty solid.
The sources seem quite confident, yes. The Wiltshire Council's history project points strongly towards it.
Though there's that slight confusion with Bishop's Canning's parish, isn't there?
Ah, yes. Explain that bit.
Well, historically, the pond was actually in Bishop's Canning's parish, but the boundary changed in 1835, putting it into Devizes town.
Right, so older accounts might mistakenly place it in Bishop's Canning's village itself.
Exactly. Even though there's apparently no pond in the village proper, it's just an administrative boundary quirk that explains some confusion.
Clears that up. And the Pelican Inn remains the likely spot for the Brandy's destination.
Seems the most plausible candidate.
So this one incident, this clever trick with the moon's reflection, it really stuck. It gave Wiltshire folk their nickname.
Moonrakers, yes. But the irony is how it started.
How so?
Well, the story goes that the excise man initially spread the tale.
To show how dim Wiltshire people were.
Precisely. He thought he'd encountered idiots trying to rake cheese out of a pond. He was telling it as proof of their stupidity, completely unaware he was the one who'd been duped.
That's brilliant. The story gets turned on its head.
It really does. It becomes a badge of honor, signifying cunning, not foolishness. It shows how folklore works, doesn't it? Preserving local identity.
And it passed down orally. You mentioned William Little, the shepherd.
Yes, he's noted as retelling it. And then you have poets like Edward Slowe writing it down in the Wiltshire dialect later on, 1881.
Cementing it in local culture.
Absolutely. It moves from anecdote to established legend. Writing it down, especially in dialect, gives it a whole new level of permanence.
And the name still echoes today, though maybe not always flatteringly.
Yes. The football rivalry. Oxford United fans using moonrakers for Swindon Town supporters.
As a bit of an insult, implying they're simple.
Seems to be the gist, even though, as the notes point out, the original moonrakers were strictly from Devizes, geographically speaking.
Shows how these labels stick and get reapplied, though, doesn't it?
It certainly does. The original meaning gets diluted or twisted over time.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, the Moonraker's story feels like, well, a perfect blend of things.
Definitely. You've got the historical reality smuggling was rife, driven by economics. Those flights were real.
Then you've got the cleverness, the local wit beating the system, the specific goal of that night.
And the unexpected outcome, not just getting the brandy, but creating this enduring identity, even if the initial interpretation was wrong.
It really highlights the power of a good story, how folklore shapes a place.
It encapsulates that tension between, ordinary rural folk and the authorities. Ingenuity under pressure.
Makes you think, doesn't it? How much do these local tales, passed down, really form our sense of belonging to a place, a community?
A very good question. And what does this specific story, the Moonrakers, tell us about that relationship with authority back in the 18th century? Clearly not always straightforward obedience.
No, indeed. There's a definite streak of defiance, of outsmarting the powers that be. It's a reminder of that fascinating mix of fact and fiction in local legends.
And how even a simple, funny story can actually tell you a lot about a particular time and culture.
Absolutely. Perhaps listeners might fancy looking into smuggling history in their own areas, or other local nicknames. You never know what you might uncover.
Could be quite revealing.
Indeed. Well, until our next deep dive then.
Okay, so there we are. That's the story of the Moonrakers. Well done, Daz. That was really, really interesting.
Yeah, sorry. Of course, it also adds on to, I just said, basically linked to the moon, and that's why the people are called Moonrakers, because of that one tale. And it's all actually is based in historical fact. The other thing is I'd like to point out is that they're talking about a full moon.
Yes.
Now in Wiltshire and in other rural areas, probably all over the country, there is another name for a full moon, and that is a poacher's moon. And this ties in with the smuggling stories, because when you've got a full moon, you don't need a torch.
Yeah.
You can see it will light up. Once your eyes have adapted, it's surprising how much you can see. And of course, during the winter months, especially when you get into the woods and there's no leaves on the trees, you can see everything. So it's an ideal time for poaching. So, I mean, when I was a teenager, we used to go out rabbiting and things like that at night because we didn't need torches and things like that. And of course, going back to folklore again, is that the full moon is also associated with crime. Well, in
Yes.
the old days, it was associated with crime for the same reason as the poacher's moon and the moonraker's moon. It's full, you can see. You don't need a torch, and it's less chance that you're going to be detected. And you can hide in the shadows better. Well, of course, this is now sort of like not the case with crime, because we've got the not secure security lights now.
Yeah.
Everybody fits security lights, which are so bright that basically all they do is they show the people who, if they are got in ill intent and they want to burgle you, show you where all your entrances are, where your windows are, and also it creates very deep shadows in which they can hide. And of course, when people get complacent with these security lights, how many people get up and have a look when their security light comes on now? Hardly anybody.
Nobody. Same with car alarms. Same as car alarms.
Yeah, it's a case of that, they have their sensors set so fragile that even a hedgehog walking across the grass will set it off. You don't need to have them that thing. And if anything, you need a dimmer light so you can actually see where the people are, because you won't have such dark shadows.
Well, I've mentioned this before, but B&Q used to sell a home security light that was brighter than a lighthouse. And and it's field day for would-be burglars. Oh, I can see where all the doors are, all the windows are. So those things are absolutely stupid, and they introduce a huge amount of light pollution. And stop us seeing the stars. So if you know anybody with home security lights, tell them they're just being silly and to turn them off so that we can get our universe back, for goodness sake.
Or at least turn them down, that the people have to be within just a few meters of the house rather than at the bottom of the half a mile away still coming.
I mean, these things are so bright that even if you angle them downwards, they reflect off the ground up into the sky and spoil the view of the universe. So there we are. Well, listen, Daz, thank you so much for that. Really interesting. That will appear as a video on the channel during Moon Month. And there we are. Paul Wheaton says, in Japan, people will go to specially built ponds to view the moon and its reflection. How romantic. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that lovely? Thank you, Paul. That's really interesting. Okay, we're going to move on now, because inevitably that time has come. The moment you all look forward to every week. It's Roger. And we're going to have a look at the Roger's Night Sky Guide. And, of course, the viewers gallery. So take it away, Roger.
Okie dokie, here we go. So here we are getting on through the halfway through to Easter already. So time's moving on. And as we are aware, we've just had a full moon, which was a micro pink moon by all accounts. And we've been quite lucky, really. So we're fading away now, but although we have had a full moon, it's not been as high as it has been, and it's getting quite low. So although it is still quite bright, it's not quite so high in the sky. So maybe that will help a few people out with their astrophotography. But this was it before last week.
Lovely.
Just before it got to that full moon stage. So we are now seeing the end of the winter constellations as the night goes on, and we are well and truly into the galaxy season, with Leo and Virgo coming up from the eastern skies as well. And we are also getting some of the summer constellations coming up through, although we have got a little while to go, but Arcturus is on its way up through as well, so all's well and good. And we do have some interesting things to see later on. Spoiler alert. So in the morning before sunrise, we do have Venus, Mercury, Saturn and Neptune coming up. But obviously with the bright skies coming through, you'll probably just get to see Venus and Mercury. Now, Mercury will be at its greatest elongation on Monday next week, so look out for that. And also, we also have later after this, we have a friendly comet coming through, which is also visible in the morning skies because it's coming out of Square Pegasus and into Andromeda. That is Comet 25 Swan, and it is a little bit faint, but it will become more visible as it gets nearer to perihelion, which will be in a few more weeks' time. Although it still will be a bit tricky to see, but hopefully those in the southern hemisphere get a better view of it, as they do. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
And it's getting quite interesting with its development. That's one that I showed before. But onwards with the Oddities gallery, and we have another good contribution from our regulars. We've got one here from Sandra Grace. Oh, that's one from last week. How did that happen?
Yes, yeah.
You haven't put last week's up, have you?
Nice to see you again, though, Sandra. Hope your fingers have
I
recovered.
have put last week's up. Oh, for goodness sake. Hang on a minute, right. Bear with me.
Just
talk about something else.
Okay.
I thought that was a bit familiar.
Well, while we're waiting, should we go over to
God. Can't take me anywhere.
You want a couple of minutes to sort that out?
That won't take long. I beg your pardon.
That's okay. You can't get the scarf. You know,
after all that, I fluffed it up.
That's usually my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. True. Very true.
The sky looks similar all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Daz, Roger was saying that there might be an aurora tonight, or probably more tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw something. I'll be quite honest today. I haven't. Give me 5 seconds, and I'll come back to you on that.
Okay. Well, let's. Roger, are you ready?
Give me a bit. Bear me a moment.
Okay.
Dear, oh dear. I don't know what happened there. I thought I deleted last week's and then put up this week's, but
obviously not.
Oh, it's an age thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I've just had something pop up from CMA, from the Space Weather Live.
Yeah, there's been a coronal mass ejection on the sun apparently. So it might.
Yeah, it was about 3 days ago. There's been some quite nice action going on. There have been, I think there's been 3 flares in the last 3 or 4 days, which are due to start hitting tonight, if I remember rightly.
Right.
Just have a look.
There we are. Sandra says, Roger, you can show it again. I don't mind.
Oh, right. Well, the first part is very similar to last week, so
right.
So it's just a little bit further on. That was all.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter too much. Right.
No.
Good job. I got fiber broadband on this computer. I can upload it quite quick. He says.
Yeah. Okay. So next week, viewers. Next week we're going to be grabbing the bull by the horns and discussing moon landing deniers. Why seemingly an incredibly fast increasing number of people seem to believe that the moon landings never happened. And that's actually, well, I can tell exactly where it came from originally. It actually originated with a inverted commas documentary by Fox in the late 90s on television called Did We Really Land on the Moon? And before that, nobody had even thought about the possibility that that people didn't land on the moon. But unfortunately, since that day, it's spread like a virus. And there are many people, particularly in the United States, it seems, that seem to deny what their country did, the biggest achievement ever by humans, landing on the moon. And they're everywhere now. You find moon landing deniers everywhere. So we're going to look at that and discuss why we think it's happening. And also, if you do happen to know somebody who doesn't think we landed on the moon, what weapons can we give you in your armory to shoot them down in flames? And although it must be said, very often these people do not respond to facts. But we're going to discuss all that next week anyway. The week after on Space Oddities, the last Tuesday of the month, which I think is the 28th, if I remember rightly, we are 29th. Yeah. We are going to be very lucky to have a moon quiz by Michael. So last Tuesday of this month, we're going to do a moon quiz where you can pit your wits against us and everybody watching to see how much you know about the moon. So Michael, we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
And that should be good fun just to finish off Moon Month. Between now and then, of course, we'll be uploading new videos onto the channel for Moon Month every day, as fast as I can do it, because it's extremely time consuming, but not as time consuming as what Daz has been doing to create the videos in the first place. So we all owe Daz a great vote of thanks because he's worked very hard on Moon Month. And
it's been my pleasure. I've learned so much and remembered so much as well. It's been fantastic.
Moon Month has been a great experience for us all in different ways. And we will be doing another specialist month. Somebody last week suggested Mars as a specialist month, which I think is a good idea. Obviously not yet. We don't want to make every month a specialist month, but give us a couple of months and we'll probably do a Mars month after that. And Derek says, can somebody wake Daz up, please? I'm
busy.
Yeah.
So there we
are.
So anyway, we hope you enjoy Moon Month.
Usually me.
Yeah.
And as regards the aurora that we're possibly gonna get, it looks like they're expecting the storm activity to be fairly high. So we could get them down into the mid latitudes, which is where we are. The only thing is here, I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I've just got loads of cloud. But I mean, the site I'm looking at is actually covering North America. They've hit G6, but it appears that it started to hit at 5:30 this afternoon.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, the BZ keeps popping north. So, of course, that then stops any big auroras from actually coming down as far south as we would like to see them. But like I said, listen out for your alerts, especially the local ones, and hopefully you might be able to see something. But here, I'm totally clouded out. In fact, we've got rain at the moment. I can hear it rattling against the window.
Right.
So,
by the way, Derek says, why not do all the planets in order as theme months? That's certainly an idea. We will discuss it. Thank you for that, Derek. Good suggestion. And while I remember it, if you would like to support everything that we do on Space Oddities, you can, of course, buy us a coffee, and you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can click the link that should have just appeared in the chat. All donations are gratefully appreciated. You can that will take you to the Buy Me a Coffee site where you can buy us a coffee. And as I always say, every bit of money goes towards helping the channel keep running. We're not siphoning off the money and buying fast cars with it. I can assure you of that. And also, of course, you can help us out by buying the Space Oddities t-shirts. Don't forget, summer is allegedly nearly here. You'll want some t-shirts for the summer, won't you? Well, you could do worse than buy the Space Oddities t-shirts in 2 designs. And again, a link should have just appeared in the chat. And we would like nothing better to see you all strutting your funky stuff in Space Oddities t-shirts. And also, in the same place, Space Oddities hoodies. And they're all available at the Space Oddities shop. And here's the link for that, for the full range of our summer range of merchandise. And as we keep saying, we intend to add to our merchandise range soon. But until then, you've got t-shirts and hoodies to peruse, and we hope you'll buy them and enjoy them, because they are good quality stuff. You can also, of course, click the super chat icon underneath the chat window, the one with the $sign on it, and that will allow you to make a donation to us directly. And thank you so much for your support, because without that money, we can't keep going. It's as simple as that. So thank you today. to Deep Burrito and Gerard for donating. Much appreciated as always. And there we are. So, you know, we have bills to pay like every other channel has to pay bills for various things. So so there you are. Help us out if you possibly can to keep Space Oddities on the air, so to speak. We're going to go back to Roger now. I think you're ready, are you not, Rog?
Yeah, ready or not.
Okay, right.
Not.
All right, so there you
right.
go.
Okay, so we are. I'll just go back to the Comet Swan for a moment, just to show its further progress as it traverses into Andromeda.
Right.
So that'll be a possible interest for members who like to get up in the wee hours of the morning and see what there is before sunrise.
Right.
And here is a fairly recent picture of that aforementioned comet. So it's got quite an interesting tail at the moment. So
long tail. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
so
nice.
see how it develops as it gets nearer to the sun in the next few weeks.
Right.
Right. Okay. So here we do go for this week's gallery. We have a few from Mr. Michael Murphy. So he's obviously caught that with all these clear nights and etc. So the first one we've got is the Sun in White Light from Dundrum in Dublin. And this is what he's been using to
with the
capture
Skywatcher.
that.
Oh, beautiful.
Got some interesting sunspots there.
Lovely. Got some faculae as well there. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. Wash your mouth out. And here's one which he's got as a coloured image.
Oh, very nice, Michael.
That one looks a bit more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Well done.
So we have got a little bit of activity there to photograph. And when it got dark, he's got M81 and M82 as well, with his ASCAR 300mm focal length telescope.
Lovely.
To give a nice wide-angle view of that.
That is beautiful, isn't it?
Very nice.
That's lovely.
Yep.
Not only has he got M8182, and over to the right, he's also got another galaxy.
Yep.
But we haven't got that one designated there.
Don't know which one that is.
Ought to know, but not off the top of my head. And then when he was finished with that, he went over to M51.
There's more?
Oh,
There's more.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it gives it a sense of scale with the wide field.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very
Well done.
nice.
And then some galaxies in Draco. And this was 4 hours integration.
Oh, yes. Some lovely galaxies
nice.
there.
Yeah.
Right. I've got an annotated version which will follow this slide to
I was going to say,
all the ones that are marked out on there.
Which one's which?
Yes, which one's which is this one.
Ah.
So that's NGC 5901.
Yeah, and the one down on the sort of 5 o'clock position is M102.
The Spindle Galaxy.
Oh, right.
Yes.
And you've got NGC 5905, 5908, IC 1099, NGC 5879. Wow. What a lot of galaxies. Yeah. Well done, Michael. That's brilliant. That's really good.
And I don't know. I got a feeling there is a possibility between NGC 5907, which is on the top right. If you go roughly halfway between there and the Spindle Galaxy, and just down below, I don't know if that might be a comet.
Really?
Right where the lines are.
Right where the lines are.
So the vertical, the diagonal vertical lines, if you go to the middle one, just to the left of the center of it, it looks like a fuzzy comet.
Oh, it does. Yes, you're right.
Ooh. I wonder if that's what Ooh, that could be a new comet, which might have to have a name after it.
Murphy would be good.
Yeah.
Comet
Or the
Murphy.
the Sparkford comet. Sounds like a train,
No.
doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
Michael, what you should do is to get out there and get some more images of exactly that area. See whether it's moved.
And see if it's moved. Yeah. But that's I've just this minute noticed it actually. So,
yeah, no, it looks exactly like it. I tell you what that reminds me of. That reminds me of Comet Iris Alcock-Araki. That same sort of fuzzy blob without a tail. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
We
We're talking about it's down in the left-hand quadrant, isn't it? The bottom left-hand quadrant. And it's just if you look at where it says 5 to 15 degrees 12 minutes, and then follow it up. It's just to
about halfway up on the left.
Yeah, that does look a bit like comety, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually.
Ooh, quick.
Alternatively, if you find NGC 5905 and go to the 2 o'clock position from there.
Yeah.
Right up
halfway
against
between
the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Michael, you may have discovered a comet, mate.
Yeah.
You saw it here first on Space Oddities.
Oh.
Yes. There we are. Right.
Right.
Meanwhile, we've got Ian who's taking a picture of the moon.
Oh, lovely.
Moon.
Always nice to see
the blue sky, a daytime moon.
A daytime moon, indeed.
I saw it like that the other night.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
but this is in the daytime, Michael.
The other evening.
Listen, at the moment, Michael doesn't know whether it's day or night, to be quite honest.
No. Anyway.
For reasons we won't go into.
Talking of the moon, we've got one from Graham Turvey, which was on his Sea Star.
Oh, look at that. That's lovely.
That's rather dramatic.
Yeah.
It is.
Very, very nice.
Michael's put in the comments, I thought the same, but that is a PGC galaxy.
Oh.
Piffle. What a shame.
Oh, what a shame, Michael. One day,
yeah,
Michael.
One day. And then we've got one from Graham, also on a Sea Star, and this was a close-up.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Yes, Sinisiridium. There.
Oh, very, very nice.
And we've also got Schroeter's Valley all glaring away there.
Yeah.
Down there near the Terminator.
Yeah.
Well done. That's good.
Really good.
And Jerry's managed to do the Leo triplet. And this was what he managed to get.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow. Jerry, that's really good. That's really good.
Yes.
That is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
I love the colour as well, actually.
I was about to say that the colour is
blue,
it's really lovely colour as well.
Really shows you the dust lanes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly did. You can sort of see how the gas is being pulled away from the interaction of the other galaxies. So
yeah, you can see it's all like the star trails being the halos.
And to continue on with the Sea Star theme, Lee also managed to get M51. And this is what he managed.
Gorgeous.
Oh, wow. That's lovely.
A Sea Star, he says. Ooh,
yeah.
Gosh.
And there's another little galaxy, looks like up in the top.
Right.
Yeah, we know that one.
Side on.
Yes, that's definitely not a comet.
No.
No, not that one, though. But that is absolutely fantastic. That's gorgeous.
Well
That's lovely, isn't it? Got lots of nice colours in that one.
Yeah.
Right, so Sandra has been using an Sea Star S30 for the first time.
Yeah.
M51. Oh, we're on a M51 theme tonight.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Very
the
good.
S30. God.
With the baby brothers managed to get one.
Yeah, the baby gives you a wider angle. And of course you don't get the sort of like the light bucket. I mean, between the 30 and the 50, but I've seen them using it gives you a lot wider angle, so you're not actually some of them you're not actually having to do mosaics. So because you get the wider angle, I'm thinking of purchasing a second one, a baby one, to go with a big one. But and of course,
you realise you can get the Pro version S30 as well now.
The Pro version, is it? Oh, okay. Then.
Yes. Yeah, it was announced at NEAF in America.
Oh, okay.
Which has got twin optics on there, so it's got like a telephoto and a wide angle on it.
Oh,
that
wow.
would be very interesting.
And it's got 4 elements rather than the 3.
Oh, sweet! That could be really interesting. I might wait then.
Yeah.
I might wait.
I
Because
think
of course now you can, as I think I said before, you can now use these using an alt-out wedge. You know, they are wedges. So you can actually do the tracking for longer periods
without the field rotation.
So and it actually twists as it goes as well, so you don't get to. Because I think if I showed you, we were talking last week. Well, I did the Whirlpool Galaxy, and when you put it up, when you looked at the corners, they were all fuzzy and distorted, and that's where it was tracking. But of course, it wasn't twisting at the same time. So that's when you have to crop them, so you can actually see them. But it's a wonderful machine for a beginner. It's absolutely fantastic. Sandra will tell you, once you've got it set up and you've got it programmed, which only takes it's less than an hour. It's about 3/4 an hour at the most. You're away. You're taking photographs, and within seconds, it's as you go out each time, it sort of sets itself and everything, and then you're away taking photographs, and you can walk away. And I was surprised, actually, something I did notice the other day, how far away you can get from it with your phone or something like that. And also, I mean, I set mine up, and then I come back indoors and use it indoors. Well, it's sat in the middle of the garden, so you can get quite a distance from them. So so you're not out in the cold yourself.
Is it a Bluetooth connection or a wireless connection?
It's a Bluetooth connection, but also it does it through it's its own Wi-Fi.
Right.
So it becomes a Wi-Fi hotspot, but you need a Bluetooth connection with it.
Because if you haven't got any obscuring walls, the quoted range for a standard Bluetooth connection is 10 meters. So Sandra says it might have been a better image if I let it running longer. Well, maybe, but that's not as it is, Sandra.
Well, no, that's usually within sort of like 20 frames. I'm assuming Sandra stacked these, but you can see it yourself within 5 frames. You can see it, the actual cores, and within 10-20 frames you can actually see the actual size of it. And the longer you leave it going, then of course the more and more detail it's going to pull out.
Sure.
And it's fantastic little machine for. I know it's. Some people knock them, saying it's not true astronomy, but hey ho, it gets people. I mean, they're quite cheap for what they are.
Yeah, they are.
And they get people out there, and they're having a go. And this is what it's all about. Then, if they wish, they can move on. So it's a great teaching tool.
Great, thank you, Sandra. Wonderful image.
Right, we've got one more picture to go.
Go on then. Is it yours?
It's me. It might be. And it's the moon. Just the day after the full moon. So there we go.
Nice. It looks like it snowed.
Yeah, it does look a bit snowy. Anyway.
That does look gorgeous. The detail on that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
there we are. Well, listen, Roger, thank you so much for that. And
yes, we had a grand entry again this week. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Don't forget, viewers, as we said, if you send in your images so that we can show them here on Tuesdays, you also get your own gallery on the Space Oddities website as well. What more could you want out of life? So what we're going to do now, no, go away. don't sneak up on me like that. What we're going to do now, we're going to go to Michael. Michael, you've got a little bit of news for us, I think.
Just bear with me. I shall just share my screen now in a moment. Come on. Come on, you beauty. Come on. Right, you got that?
Hang on 1 second. There we are. That's there.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to tell you or remind you about Capcom magazine, exclusive to Space Oddities, and this is produced every 2 months, covering all aspects of spaceflight and rocketry, with the latest news and events, as well as retrospectives. This magazine is completely free as a downloadable PDF file. To subscribe, just send an email to capcom@spaceoddities.space with the word subscribe as the subject. And you can unsubscribe at any time. There's no reason why you should do. So that's just magazine which I've been doing for 30 odd years now. And I just enjoy doing it. So if you want to support me in what I do, just download it. It's free. So
and a jolly good magazine it is too.
Yeah, thank you. So that's Capcom magazine. The next magazine is due out at the beginning of May, and so I'm just working on that at the moment. So also wanted to tell you about again the FAS, Federation of Astronomical Societies, the convention, which is on the Saturday the 31st of May. Although this is sold out, we are taking names for a wait list. If anyone does drop out, then we can offer these tickets for sale if that happens. So it should be a good day. We've got quite a few good speakers coming in for that. The main speaker, of course, is Lord Martin Rees, the Astronomer Royal, with a talk about the future of astronomy. Will this century be our last? Then we have Dr. Paul Daniels, FRAS, member of the RAS Mega Constellations Working Group, brackets optical, threats and challenges to astronomy. Also, Dr. Louise Devoy, senior curator at the Royal Observatory Greenwich, the history of the Greenwich Meridian. Dr. Matthew Bothwell, Public Astronomy Institute at the Institute of Astronomy, the Invisible Universe, the Search for Dark Matter, and Simon Banton, who is an independent researcher on Stonehenge, with a talk all about the archaeoastronomy of Stonehenge. So if you are interested in that, put your name down, just in case there are any people that might drop out, and we'll let you know. So that's that, and that's all I need to say.
Right. So, thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that. What we're going to do now, in a rare treat for Space Oddities viewers, we're going to go back to Roger. And Roger is going to give us the constellation of the week.
Woo.
So, what constellation is it, first of all, Roger?
It's Lyra.
Ah, Lyra. Fantastic constellation. Small but perfectly formed, as they say.
Yes.
So here we are.
Yes. Okay, so a brief introduction to the little constellation of Lyra. And as most people know, the Alpha Lyrae is called Vega. lost it out of my head for a moment there.
It's your age, mate.
Which was what was visited by Jodie Foster in the film Contact.
That's right.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
And also,
anyway, parts. Oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say, there's a huge infrared excess around Vega. It's got a planetary disk forming around it. And this was discovered by the IRAS infrared satellite back in the 1980s. I just thought I'd put that in.
Oh, okay.
For no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm. And it's also part of the Summer Triangle asterism with Deneb in Cygnus and Altair in Aquila. So there we are for that. Although
I can't wait to see that again. It's nearly there.
No, it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there.
So we have got Vega, the brightest star, and it's been 25 light years away, which is only 7.7 parsecs. So not too far for the Millennium Falcon to travel to.
The Kessel Run.
It's the 5th brightest star in the night sky and the 2nd brightest in the northern celestial hemisphere after Arcturus. There. There we go. Beta Lyra, which is called Sheliak. Did a lot of people know that?
I did know that.
Yeah, well.
Yes.
So it's an early B-type star, so it's close to the larger giant star. So it's quite interesting there. So we've also got lots of other different things around with stars around in that area. Okay, but over the other side in Gamma we've got Sulafat. Now I guess Sheliak and Sulafat are Arabic names for these stars by the sounds of it. And this is considerably further away at 620 light years away. And between Beta and Gamma is one of the most famous Messier objects, the Ring Nebula. So,
lovely.
And that is my own image.
That is a lovely image, Roger. Very clear.
And it shows you the interesting ring colour formation there as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
What's that up at the 11 o'clock position? Looks like
that is a barred spiral galaxy.
Wow, you caught that very well.
Well, it is a fainter object, but it is there. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was quite fascinating. That was originally discovered in 1779, but 15 years later, Charles Messier discovered the Dumbbell Nebula as well. So it's quite interesting. So it's roughly 2,500 light years away, and at a magnitude of 8.8. So it's not too dim, but it does make an interesting object, and you can see it quite well in a telescope as a grey fuzzy circle. But
fantastic.
One of my favourite little things. But not to be outdone, there is another Messier object, M56, which is a globular cluster. And Charles Messier saw that in 1779, and it can be visible in large binoculars, but a telescope will obviously give it a better definition. And this is what the Hubble sees it like.
Oh, yeah, little bit of a difference. Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
it really is.
And unfortunately, I haven't got an image to compare it to. So,
do you know how bright that is, Roger? I'm just wondering whether I've ever seen it.
It
should stay here somewhere.
Magnitude, blah 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 blah. It's 84 light years across and a magnitude.
It says it's tricky to find with large binoculars, so you can definitely see it with a. The cluster can be resolved using a telescope with an aperture of 8 inches or larger. There you are.
Yes, so there we go.
Yeah.
So, and there we are.
Oh, there we are.
I mean, there are a lot of other interesting variable stars like the RR type Lyra, but that's another talk altogether with variable stars and objects like that. But those are the basic highlights of the constellation Lyra.
Thank you very much. We'll bring you another constellation of the week next week. Now we move on. We go to Einstein of the Week, our weekly delve into the dark recesses of social media to find out exactly what people are saying about the universe and sometimes science in general. So just give me a second to get this up on the screen. And it's been quite an interesting week. I'll tell you that much. It's putting years on me reading all this stuff. But I do it for you, viewers. I do it for the cause of telling you not just about the universe, but the weird and wacky ideas people have about it. So, Einstein of the week, and we got 9 this week. So the first one coming in at number 9. You may know that the European Union is building a plan to build a successor to CERN, the particle accelerator near Geneva in Switzerland. And this is a European project. And this was an American replying to an article about the funding of CERN in Europe. And the American said, "Not with my tax dollars."
Actually, isn't it actually going to be called the Einstein Collider? Am I, or am I thinking of something?
No, you're thinking of the Einstein Gravitational Wave Observatory.
Oh, I thought, yeah, I thought it was a collider. And never mind. Yeah, carry on. Yeah, not with my taxes. Yeah, all right then.
Yeah. So
thanks for offering, though.
Yeah. Tell us you didn't read the article without telling us you didn't read the article. So so there we are. Number 8. This is all about, shame Lou's not here. Lou would love this one. I hope he catches up with this later. It's about planetary science. And this person said, SMMFH, I have no idea what that means. Earth is the only planet that needs to be talked about. Worry about home first. So astronomers, hear that? You're not allowed to talk about other planets because we have to concentrate on the Earth. And with that, he demolishes the whole field of planetary science. So what can one say? Number 7, again, planetary science. How you know about planets because you didn't go out of space to land any planets and no one went moon, it was a hoax, but how you tell about any planets?
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, in case you're thinking this was somebody whose first language is not English, no, it wasn't. This was an American gentleman. Yeah, I mean, where'd you start with that one? Where'd you start?
Yeah, that's something like a Somerset person, I'd say.
Yeah. Something a moonraker might say. So
how do you know about planets because you didn't go out of space to land
any planets? Yeah.
Well, that's not actually strictly true. We have.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, of course, it wasn't the moon landings were a hoax, as we'll be discussing next week, of course. So coming in at number 6, this is a lovely one. There was a discussion about the Apollo 13 mission, which you will remember ended in near disaster. But it was okay because good thing SpaceX was around to save the day. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly. SpaceX rescued the astronauts on the Apollo 13 mission. I bet Elon Musk remembers that well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
when was Elon Musk born?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he was born then, somehow. And SpaceX definitely weren't around in 1970.
2002, wasn't it? SpaceX?
Yeah, 2002 SpaceX was found. Where do people get these crazy notions?
Well, I agree with the second part.
Yeah.
And also I agree with the third part. Yeah, Northrop Grumman did build a lot of
that's true.
The Apollo part. So
yeah. So he knows that much, and it was a he. He knows that much.
Yeah.
But he thought
good old SpaceX. Yeah.
Good old SpaceX. Anyway. Also on the Apollo 13 mission, number 5, having this happen on the 13th of the month to a spacecraft, number 13, set science back 50 years.
Oh, did it?
What?
What?
Has that got anything? Why is that?
I don't know that there was a bit of consternation about using the number 13, but NASA said no. We're going to use 13. But how can it set back science back 50 years?
Yeah, exactly. Just because of 13.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff, what can you say? what can you say? Coming in at
Well,
number 4.
14 went up not long after, so
Yeah.
not much of a gap. Sorry.
Coming in at number 14, somebody actually posted a picture of a meteorite that they'd found. Nice picture, but somebody wasn't impressed, and they said, "Earth is not a planet, and this did not fall from outer space."
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd like to know what they think the Earth is. If
Yeah, exactly. I wish they'd do some explanation there. What was their thinking there?
Yeah. I think we ought to start naming and shaming these people. I normally edit the names out, but anyway, viewers, if you'd like to see us actually name and shame these people, tell us. But anyway, Earth not a planet. You heard it here first. Coming in number 3 this week. So this was a discussion about the fact that we can only see a tiny part of the electromagnetic spectrum, namely visible light, but we've got all the other wavelengths of light that we can't see. And this guy knows a solution, the way that we can see it. And I think we should take note of this because it never occurred to me that we could actually see the full spectrum with our eyes. And what you need to do to see the full electromagnetic spectrum with your eyes is vibrate in 4D and activate the third eye chakra to see other frequencies.
What?
Yeah. I want to know how I can vibrate in 4D.
Yeah. Also, could I ask whatever he's smoking? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is a third eye chakra?
Well, a chakra is all this hippie nonsense about energy in the body.
Your third eye that you've got in your you can see cosmic things and things like that with. Is
that right?
I don't know because I don't dabble in this stuff, but it's sort of like a third eye that you can see certain things with. But you have to train yourself and go into a sort of like a Zen state or whatever. I don't know. I'm talking waffle.
Yeah. I think the only if you do this, I think the only thing you can see in front of you is a big pile of mushrooms, to be quite honest. So there we are. Okay, number 2, getting towards the top now. Number 2, this one is just about stars. And somebody asked the question, who's lighting up these stars? This is something I've obviously been thinking about. Can I just give you a tip? Think harder. Yeah, who's lighting up these stars?
Yeah, and do some reading.
Yeah.
It's get out of TikTok and actually read some books
on astronomy.
Yeah.
On astronomy.
Well, on anything to look here. He's lighting up the stars, isn't it?
Just read books generally.
Yeah.
So he's been thinking about who lights up the stars. Is
he
it
hasn't
like
lost any sleep
where they
over
have
it.
somebody going around lighting the lamps in the evening? Is that who it is?
Well, that's it. In the years gone by, they used to have the people go out and put them out for the morning, didn't they? So there must be some cosmic being switching them off.
It's lots of little electric cables joining them together to a electric point, like on the Christmas lights.
That's what it is.
It's fiber optics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Fiber optics, even better.
Yeah.
Sandra puts the clangers.
Could be the clangers, indeed. Your guess is as good as anybody's.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. Number 1, Einstein of the week. This is about photographing stars. So, Roger, you might be interested in this because apparently you're doing it all wrong. Stars cannot be seen or photographed.
What?
Except for bodies that reflect light, the universe is totally dark. We see what we see in our mind, the only place color exists. So you can't actually see stars and you can't photograph them.
Right.
So that's the Einstein of the week.
And color does not exist.
That's obviously an American person because they've spelt color without a U.
Yes, well spotted. So when they go out and look up at the sky at night, what do they think those points of light are?
Yeah.
If you can't
probably find they live in a city where there's so much light pollution they've never seen stars.
Yeah.
But and why they think color only exists in the mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Einstein of the week this week. More lunacy from the depths of social media next week. And there we go. So, right then. So we're going to draw things to a close now. You've had enough of us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we will, unfortunately for you, be back again next week where we'll be discussing the moon landing deniers, and we'd like you all to join in with that discussion because it'd be quite interesting to get a discussion going. So there we have it. That's Space Oddities for this evening. I'd like to thank Roger and Michael and Daz for being here and contributing. So Paul says, actually, just before we go, he says, it's worrying that these people live on our planet. Absolutely agreed, Paul. But I love Einstein of the week. Oh, thank you very much, Paul.
Very good. Yeah, I
think
more worrying is these people have also got the vote.
Yeah, that's the worrying thing, isn't it? They can actually vote. So so yeah, we will continue to bring you Einstein of the week. And as I said, it's putting years on me much all this stuff.
Well, can I recommend you wear a tinfoil hat so you don't lose too much IQ points?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And sometimes I cannot resist replying to these people, and
you must resist
because of what I said to somebody. I'm now in Facebook jail until the 12th of May. But that doesn't mean I can't use Facebook. It just means I can't.
You need to create a pseudonym Facebook page.
Yeah. So there you are. And I didn't even say anything remotely offensive.
Yeah.
These people are so offended if you sneeze at them. So.
Well, I just dropped into conversation that Americans are an embarrassment to the planet.
You upset a whole country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not American viewers. We're not talking about you, obviously, but these people who post this crazy stuff, they're an embarrassment to the planet. We know obviously that there's a huge number of incredibly intelligent Americans, and the fact that the world's technology comes out of America, and would make you think that people would know a little more about science. But apparently, in my humble opinion, the education system must be failing them somewhere. So Sandra says, I'll send you a get out of jail free card. Oh, thank you, Sandra.
Raid the Monopoly box.
Yeah, no, exactly. But
I think Ian's got the point. He says, "Don't feed the trolls."
Don't feed the trolls. Yeah, I know, and I really, really don't very often. But sometimes, you just have to reply because, after all, it's about other people not believing what these people are saying. We have to put them right on the facts. Otherwise, these examples of lunacy will spread like a virus, as indeed they are, as we'll be discussing next week with the moon landing deniers. So there we are. So anyway, glad you enjoy our Stand of the Week. We will be back same time next week with another edition. When, as I said, we'll be discussing the moon landing deniers, and we hope you come along for that and enjoy it. Have a fantastic Easter, everybody. We know some of you may not be around, perhaps tail end of Easter next week, but nonetheless, we hope you'll join us next week, same time on the channel, 8 p.m. UK time, for another edition of Space Oddities. In the meantime, do have a look at the videos for Moon Month on the channel. As I said, we'll be getting a lot more of them up this week, hopefully, and we hope you enjoy them. And if you've got any feedback, please just send it to us at info@spaceoddities.space. We love hearing from you, and you are our audience, and we want you to be happy. So if you've got any feedback,
any moon stories, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely.
Like the Moonrakers, anything that twerky to your area or anything like that. So
absolutely. So anyway, we hope you've enjoyed tonight. A look at the moon in popular culture. And as I said, as regards Moon Month, we'll definitely consider doing future theme months in the future. So thank you. So thank you all for being here. Much appreciated. Thank you for your donations. Thank you, Deep Burrito and Gerard and others. Thank you so much for your generosity. It means a lot to us. Okay, have a fantastic Easter, everybody. Hope the weather stays good for you, especially in the UK. And we'll see you same time next week. So from all of us here at Space Oddities, we wish you a very good evening. Bye-bye.
Keep looking up.
Keep looking up.